Let me now welcome on a very special guest. Ahead of the undisputed welterweight championship in Dublin, Ireland at Bellator 291 on Friday. The current Bellator MMA interim welterweight champion, Logan Storley. How are we doing today?
Doing well. Just getting everything situated out here and going through the fight week process.
Yeah, so I guess like how are you feeling physically? How was your fight camp leading up to this fight?
Yeah, I feel great physically. Obviously, it's cutting weight for Friday, which is never fun, but is part of it. And then for this fight camp, I put in a lot of work. It was a long camp, and we did the things necessary to be ready to perform and win that belt on Saturday night.
Yeah, so obviously the fights Friday. Probably around during the day here in
Saturday.
the States. Yeah. It's
Yep.
Saturday in Dublin, but Friday during the
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it'll be about 4 o'clock Saturday your time.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I
Yeah.
missed up there.
No,
I
you're
think
good.
yeah, I think the tapology thing's wrong then. But
Yeah, because it's only a 6 hour difference. So I should be fighting, I don't know, I think the main card starts at 3 Central. So hopefully about 4:30, 4:45 um, on Saturday back home.
yeah, okay. Sorry about that mix up.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so I guess what's your current schedule then? Kind of leading up to the fight. You mentioned obviously weight cutting on Friday like normal. But obviously it's Tuesday now. What are you gonna kind of be doing leading up to the fight on Saturday?
Yeah, so today, we had check-in and pictures and we have media day tomorrow. Kind of just besides that, not too much, really just making sure you're doing all the things for Bellator and they don't keep us too busy because they know we're cutting weight and getting ready to fight. So besides that, just really honing in on the last details and making sure that the weight is coming down.
Yeah, so obviously now looking to the fight specifically, Yaroslav Amosov, a guy that you have fought before. I guess leading up to this week, how much focus did you put on the last fight? How many times did you watch it? And I guess what did you try to take from the first time you guys matched up?
Yeah, obviously it was a split decision in a fight that, I felt like I did enough. He felt like he did enough. Um, Super close. We watched it a couple times, but I think that I've improved dramatically since that first fight. I've had 3 fights since, won the belt, and have fought two 25-minute fights. So, I've learned a lot about myself and as a fighter. So I guess with that being said, you do look at that fight, some positions. This fight's going to come down to small positions. That's what it really is going to come down to. And I think there were some instances in that last fight where I made some little mistakes, and so we're trying. We don't want to make those again. And I think if I do that, I'll come away with the victory.
Yeah, I guess when you look at a fight like that, it was so close, and both you guys had serious arguments, I think, for winning. The I guess judging in MMA is a really hot topic recently. Do you think like the current system is, I guess, good? What would you change on your end, or do you think? Oh, I know a lot of people have mentioned like open scoring. A fight when it's so close like that. Do you think it would have helped if you knew if you were down going into the last round? Or I guess, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's tough because with the sport of wrestling, if you're down by 1 point with 30 seconds left, well, you have to go score. And obviously, fighting, MMA and boxing is not like that. And I wouldn't mind having open scoring. Um, I just, I don't know what the answer is, because there's no actual points. There's not a point system of, okay, it's 10-8, or, this takedown is worth this much, or the, like, so it is tough when it comes to because it is judgment and people make errors and people see it differently. I don't know if do you add 5 judges, so it's instead of 3, you have 5, but now you have more expenses, now you're paying so there's all these things that come into it where it seems like a simple solution, but then behind that, there's a lot of other things that go on. And so me personally, I would not mind having open scoring.
Interesting. Yeah, because I know a lot of fights recently in, I guess, landscape of MMA have been pretty close, and it just seems like there's a better way to do it. Obviously, MMA is such a young sport still, and it seems like there's room for improvement there. But I guess how much I know you mentioned how much better that you've gotten since that last fight. You had 2 main event tests. Do you feel like you've improved? I guess how much do you feel like you've improved since the first time you fought Amosov?
Yeah, at that time I was still really young in my career and hadn't been in a fight where I wasn't able to control a position. Every fight before that, I was able to get to a takedown right away, do my damage on top, control, and then that fight obviously back and forth, still got to my takedowns, but I had to let my hands go. I had to get in a in an all-out fight where I couldn't just go score and get to my wrestling position right away. And then you look at the Gracie fight, 25 minutes, all stand up, back and forth, throwing. And then the MVP fight, obviously you're fighting a guy who's so hard to time and is one of the fastest, most explosive strikers in the sport of MMA. And I did a good job of getting to my positions again, stood with him most of the 4th round, scored when I had to, did damage when I had to. And so that's where I think I'm different compared to that first fight is, now I know I have a lot of confidence in my hands. I know I can hit you and put you away. I don't have to go to that takedown over and over and over again. Just simple things like that make a big difference in a fighter's head.
Yeah, if you look back, I guess, to that first fight, there were some wild grappling exchanges in the second and third rounds. You had him almost in trouble with a few submission attempts in the third round. I guess when you look at Amosov's game specifically, where do you think like his strengths lie, and how would you, I guess, stack him up against the other opponents that you face?
I think one thing Yaroslav has is he's very well rounded. He's good everywhere. And he has very high level wrestling, just like me. And he has a gas tank. He can go, and he can scramble. Whereas that's, the difference with some of these other guys is I could get to my takedown and score. So Yaroslav he's smart about the scoring. He knows the scoring too, just like I do. And he's good at just kind of putting at 60, 70% punches. He doesn't throw super hard all the time, where some guys will come out and throw hard right away and then they're done. So I know he's going to be there, the whole 25 minutes. If that's what it takes, both of us, are ready for that. So like I said, it's going to come down to who can win the small position, stay composed in a difficult situation, and score the big takedown and big punches in those moments of each round.
Yeah, I guess, do you think he's the best fighter that you have faced, or do you not go in with that mindset? Or I guess how would you, if you had to rank, I guess him, Neiman Gracie, and MVP, I guess how would you rank those 3?
Yeah, obviously I think Amosov's the best because he proved that. And so yeah, there's just different. The MVP fight was difficult because his striking is so elusive. You're not used to that movement. But his wrestling wasn't as great. And then you have Gracie, who is pretty well rounded, but is super dangerous on the ground with knee bars and his grappling. But his wrestling's not as good. So that's kind of I guess how I look at it. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes MMA so interesting, because each fighter's kind of different, different puzzle and a different game in itself, and it's hard to, I think, almost rank them head to head, because styles do truly make fights, and I like you mentioned, you have a different mindset going into each fight.
Yeah, the distance changes, where they're dangerous, what their cardio, there's just all these different things. Um, everybody's dangerous those first few minutes, and maybe a guy who's not as good but has way more power, well, they're dangerous for 3 minutes and they can put anyone out. So that's why, it's matchups make these fights. So I'm excited, and me and Yaroslav have a lot of the same style, and it's going to come down to who can push the pace longer.
Yeah, I guess when you were prepping for this fight, your teammates at your gym, obviously a lot of success with Gilbert Burns. He had a win earlier in January. Michael Chandler gets his fight announced with McGregor. It just seems like a lot going on with your guys' gym. How much does like seeing the success of your teammates help motivate you for a fight like this?
Yeah, obviously it motivates you and you're happy to see him do well, but I think what it does is gives you confidence. You see a guy that you're in there with every day, you're doing a lot of the same things, and you're seeing him go be successful against the best guys in the world. So you've done the training, you've done the right things, and you compete with him on a daily basis. So when you see him go out there, and when he beat up Neil Magny and submitted him, that gives you a lot of confidence for what in your head, and for how good you are actually as a fighter. And this camp we had Shavkov come in. He's number 9, undefeated in the UFC at welterweight. Vicente Luque is ranked number 8. Gilbert, Michael. There's just so AJ Jeffrey. I got a lot of guys, and worked with some middleweights, and all these guys are ranked in the top 10 in the world.
Yeah, I guess when you look at this fight in the, I guess, the landscape of the welterweight division, let alone in Bellator, almost in MMA as a whole, I know, I guess, where do you think you stack up with other welterweights even outside of Bellator? Because I know the last Bellator event, Johnny Eblin mentioned that he thought he was the best middleweight in the world. I do you, I guess, look at that stuff, think of that stuff. You're obviously training with guys that are in different promotions, but where do I guess you think this fight fits in the landscape of that?
Yeah, obviously, I think I'm the best in the world. I truly believe that. I've trained with the best guys in the world. At the end of the day, we're here to. I'm fighting against Amosov, right? That's the only thing that matters to me. I'm here to get another belt, get a paycheck, and be done. These arguments, the UFC is always going to have. People are always going to lean with it, just because it's UFC, and the marketing and it's been around longer. I don't care. For me, I've said it from the beginning. Whoever's paying me the most, and I get to compete against the best guys in the world, that's where I'm going. And so that's been Bellator. So if I'm super happy with the way they've treated me and the competition that I've got to fight, between Gracie, MVP, Yaroslav, the best. And I'm going to continue to, just do what my agent says, and do what's best for me and my family.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the guys you fought, and I feel like welterweight just worldwide is kind of one of the more stacked divisions in the sport. It seems like it's almost the most natural build for, I guess, like a male, and it just seems like in any promotion, there's just a lot of really talented welterweights, and in Bellator, I think it's no different. I mean, I think your resume is you fought some of the top guys in the world, and I think you deserve to be in the conversation with those guys.
Yeah, sometimes they have these world rankings where they'll put us at 15th or 32nd. I don't even look. Now it doesn't bother me, because I know. I mean, I know in my head where I stack up. And when you have been with, from Usman to Shavkat to all these other guys, I've trained with the top 8 guys in the world.
Yeah.
Bilal, all the, I know exactly where I'm at. And so that's why I'm totally comfortable staying wherever, staying in Bellator where they're paying me great. So if that, obviously things will change in the future. New contracts. We saw Michael go over, but Michael did the same thing. Everyone doubted him. But he was getting taken care of in Bellator. Then he jumped over at the right time, getting paid right, and showed the world that he was a top 5 guy, all along, and so that's just, I don't know. Sometimes it's funny when you hear people talk, when you go into the UFC, why don't you fight there? And I'd ask people the same question. Why don't you go work the same job for less money? Nobody's going to do that. It's silly. And so that's why, all these trades in the NFL, NBA, wherever, they might go to a different team. It's like, why are you doing that? It's like, to get paid more. We got a short career window to make our money. And when that time's over, it's over. So I guess that's kind of how I look at it now.
Yeah. I know you're close with Chandler. Do you have, I guess, a prediction for how the fight goes with him and McGregor?
I think it's going to be a fun fight. It's going to be an explosive fight. And obviously, either guy can knock each other out. I think if Mike maybe gets to his wrestling a little early, wears him down, I think it'll be a great night. But I think we all know how the fight's going to go. They're going to touch gloves and they're both going to throw leather as hard as they can. And in that kind of fight, you never know. But obviously, I'm going to lean with Chandler.
Yeah. So I guess you mentioned, I guess, kind of how different your preparation is for Amosov compared to your most recent opponents, but now it's your third 5-round fight in a row, and obviously the training's different from 5 rounds compared to 3 rounds. But would you say your training specifically has been a lot different for this camp compared to MVP or Gracie?
I wouldn't say much different. We just added in some little things that with cardio and knowing that it's going to be total a total MMA fight in all aspects
Yeah.
of it, against the cage, grappling, grappling exchanges into striking, and a hard 25 minutes. So, that's really all I added. Bob Cook came in, used to be at AKA with Kane, DC, Khabib, and those guys. So he came and helped me for this fight. So it's great to have him part of the team, and just made some little tweaks is really it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of I sometimes in MMA guys talk about who they want to fight after the fight they're preparing for. They kind of look ahead. Is that something you do and think, oh, if I get through Amosov, this is who I want after him, or are you solely focused on this fight and whatever happens after just happens?
Yeah, for me, it's Saturday night is the only thing on my mind right now. You got a belt on the line, got a world title on the line. So you don't think about anything else. You think about Saturday, um, going in there, doing your job, and then taking a little break and getting to relax for 2 weeks. I think it's more when you're coming up, putting yourself in that title picture, maybe you look forward, okay, this is who would be next. But for me right now, all I have my eyes set on is Amosov and Saturday night, and adding another belt.
Yeah. So I guess last question I'll get you out on. Do you have a prediction for how the fight will go?
I don't know if I have a prediction, but I know it's going to be a hard 25 minutes, and if I do my job right and get to my positions, I'll come out with another victory, and get that first fight back, and that's really what I have pictured in my mind is a good grinding pace and landing my shots, and making sure there's no doubt in the judge's decision.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on. I know everyone back here in Minnesota is rooting for you, and I guess best of luck with your fight against Amosov.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.